TikTok, it's time to rock, ladies and gentlemen. As we've said already, it's the #1 show on the channel. We might be getting nudged off our perch, though, guys. We might be getting nudged.
Yeah, that's okay. As long as it's on our channel, that's all it
matters.
Oh,
okay.
When an old parrot leaves the piece.
I know there's a couple of channels, or one in particular, that's, we won't go there. But
well, look, I like the fact you said that. And so long as it's on our channel, there's no competition on the shows on our channel. But
we'll allow people to take our ideas.
We did a great show. We were sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're late. We won't tell you what we were talking about in the green room. I promise. There's nothing that you can say in the chat which will allow the three of us to tell you what we were talking about in the green room, because we're positive, we're focused, and we're determined to make sure that we give you a great show, aren't we, Simon?
We are. Absolutely, we are. Yes, we will not be bribed with money or other riches.
Well, that's right. That's right. And a good friend of mine sent me a message and he said, "You're the only show I watch that talks about Van Halen that doesn't ask for money."
Well, that one might start copying us too.
Yeah, that might more fool us, if you ask me. But
hey, Simon, if you want me to be a panhandler,
look at this. I've got my lovely mug from Holly. Lewis, thank you, Holly. Drinking my morning coffee out of it.
Put it back where you had it, Simon. Put it back where you had it. No, in front of your face.
Yeah. And just hold that up there all night. That's it. Great.
And isolate him. Andrew, isolate him. Quick, isolate.
Yeah, just hold that up all night, Simon. Thank you.
All right.
Oh my Lord,
Holly, thank you so much. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, we had a great show, and like I said, ladies and gentlemen, there's no competition here on the channel. We were talking about that. One of the things that we were talking about in the green room was the amount of detailed information. So I want to do a shout out to John Conklin. I want to do a shout out to Alan Garber, who's a very, very good friend of our channel. We want to do a shout out to Jimmy V and Les Paul Gibson. And Les Paul Gibson is his name. That's a fact. That's his real name. That is his real name. So so it's not like Andrew 5150, or the Rock Professor or the Backdoor Man.
I'm glad the Backdoor Man.
At least Backdoor is an anagram of Brad Cook. At least it is.
And we don't have nom de guerres yet, but that might come when we talk maybe about Eric Clapton later. And also we want to do a special shout out to Tanner Yeldon, who the young guy, 22 years old. And Brad, we were talking about young things and young people and what young people do in the green room. Well, you got a young guy like that, determined, working out music, being absorbed by music.
Exactly.
So good example, isn't he?
Oh, great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was in the background and I had things on. I was driving, all sorts of stuff doing, but I had it on in the background. It was great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I had it on in the foreground. It was really amazing. So well done, everyone, on that. That was fantastic.
And what are the views on that show?
It's over 300 and something.
Thank you.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, well over 300, which is pretty cool.
Not bad for a small channel.
Well, we're getting up there. A small channel that's growing. So
yeah. Yeah, we get in there. A couple of things, ladies and gentlemen, before we kick the show. So one of the reasons why we don't have Brody here and we're not ranking the tracks of 38 Special is because Brody got caught doing some family things. So it just made it a little bit difficult for him. Because the Rock Professor and Brad and I like to keep this show at this time. And we know that if you're in another time zone, it's going to be a little bit difficult to make the time to come here. I think off memory, Simon, it's about 12:30 at night for
US,
for Brody when he comes on the show. But he's willing to do that next week for us.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, my clocks have just gone forward, so it is currently 8 o'clock here AM. Now I can go an hour earlier, so I can. If you want to go back an hour, I can go back an hour because that just would be like normal time for me for that 1 week. I want to make it a bit earlier for him.
Well, our daylight saving starts in a couple of weeks, so we'll go back. We'll just change it as per normal, But that's the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, we like to keep, because Brad's doing stuff in the afternoon, I do stuff in the afternoon, and it works out well for the Rock Professor who does all those. Who's
doing stuff all night? Yes.
That I'm not going to mention that he mentioned himself early in the morning.
I've had a few people message me about that, laughing their face off. That was gold.
Good. Was funny.
I'm never going to miss an opportunity like that, Brad, not to isolate and make that into a video, bro.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, that was unreal.
My middle daughter said, "Listen, you don't even say cocaine properly."
I
think Professor says it aristocratically.
Aristocratically, yes.
After that one comment, I think we got like a number of people subscribing because the bing, the blinkers.
I still think one of the best comments I did all month was Michael Smith. Michael Smith saying that he's going in for a heart operation. Can I have some prayers and good thoughts? And I said to him, of course, along with everybody else, of course, you have my prayers and all that. And I tagged another comment. And I said, look, when you get better, we'll get the Rock Professor to organise a few things for you. Come on and do a show with us.
Unreal.
I won't tell you what Michael messaged me back saying because I'll keep that for a green room conversation, but suffice to say that he was all in.
No pressure then.
He didn't say no, Brad. He said, "Oh, I'm in." Oh my Lord. Okay, we better get back to track. So anyway, we decided that we're going to have like an easy show. So obviously the easy show is to talk about Led Zeppelin as a Zoso show, tailing on to the show that we did last week. But before we start off the show, I've got a shout out. Brad's got a shout out, and the Rock Professor got a shout out, and then he's going to do a roll call. Our channel is called the 5150 Show. We picked up a lot of subscribers because of this band. And because of this album. Last week it was the 37th anniversary of 5150 Van Halen. So happy birthday, 5150.
Yes.
Thank you for the music, Van Halen.
Thank you. Great album. Unbelievable album. So
go on, Brad, off you go. You go next. I want to go last.
Okay, well, we are on the topic of Zoso show today, and I think it's very important for our channel to celebrate the Coverdale Page record, which clocked up 30 years this week. I purchased that album. I waited outside the record store on the day it was being released.
Well done.
the people working in the record store weren't putting it out on the shelves till about 12 or 1 o'clock, right? And I stood there and I stamped my feet saying, no, it's release day. I've been waiting outside for 2 hours in the cold. I want it. You're going to get it. So they went out the back, cut the box with a, box cutter.
Did you? Oh, amazing.
Sold it to me. I put it on in my car and I couldn't drive my car. I stopped and listened to the whole album sitting in my car with the engine running, just sitting there listening to it. 30 years ago. It's hard to believe 30 years ago I did that.
Fantastic.
But it's one of my all-time favorite records, and I think it's one of Jimmy Page's greatest achievements, that record, and it's sad that it never went on with more of that project. Unfortunately, I think it was a great collaboration. I love David Coverdale, but obviously we love Jimmy Page. So yeah, 30 years for Coverdale Page record.
30 years.
And that was a massive achievement. So also this week, 40 years ago, Eliminator was ZZ Top Eliminator record was released. So
40.
That was a game-changing record or album or whatever you want to call it for ZZ Top and MTV. It was the MTV age. That little old band from Texas. I'm sure everyone's seen that. If you haven't, go and watch it. Yeah. You have to watch it. If not, I'm not going to say any more. You got to watch it. But Eliminator, congratulations! I've been cranking it in my car all day driving around. Got me under pressure because I'm under pressure at the moment. My life's under pressure at the moment, and it's just like you sing along to it. It makes you feel good. It's a great record, and go have a listen. So the other big news, and I'm sure Michael also will be quite ecstatic about this. I watched an interview with Eric Clapton he did yesterday. 24 nights, big anniversary of that coming up next year. So I think there's going to be, from the words of Eric Clapton himself, out of his mouth, there's going to be a box set. We don't know what's coming in the box set. I'm hoping there'll be mountains of performances that we haven't heard, or stuff we have heard that's not on the initial release of 24 Nights. So these concert series were done. 24 Nights was basically compiled of like 42 concerts performed at the Royal Albert Hall in London between 1990 and 91. So it was released in 91. So yeah, we've got something wonderful coming. We can't wait for that. So Eric Clapton, we love Eric Clapton on this channel. He's a big pillar of what we do here. And, I'm ecstatic about that. I can't wait. So
I can't wait either. I can't wait either, bro.
He's got another album coming out. He's got projects doing with Tom Jones, everything. He's got lots going on. So well done, Eric Clapton.
I'm glad you mentioned the year. Thank you for that, because the guy that we've got the information out, and we won't mention his channel, but you guys know who it is, didn't even know, the year that 24 Nights, he got that confused. He got the decades wrong. He said it was of the 80s. Clearly anybody knows that it's a 1990s album. No, he's getting that confused and mixed up with Journeyman, which came out in 89. Just a little thing that Eric Clapton fans just like to make sure that we underscore.
Steady now. Steady.
1990, 91 with the Armani suits, yeah?
That's right. That's not 80s. No. Good on you, brother. We know.
Yeah.
Eric, if you ever want to come on.
Oh, he's coming. He's coming. Now, Simon, I'll hand it over to you.
Right. Well, I have on March the 22nd, 1963, the world changed forever because the Beatles released Please Please Me in the UK. And I'm saying that is the day that the world changed forever. The first Beatles album, was it 15 hours to record? 3 sessions, and wrote a couple of things in the canteen between session 2 and session 3. It's extraordinary. So I'm saying that you know, this week, 60 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, 60 years ago, the world changed forever with the release of the first Beatles record.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that was my shout out, my secret shout out. I didn't tell them beforehand I was going to do it. So I'll say good morning, Sherman.
Wait,
yeah.
John ZD351 mentioned 41 years, the number of the beast.
The
Big contrast between the Beatles and Iron Maiden.
And the Beast. The Beatles and the Beast.
Yes. Also, one more quick thing before you do a shout out, Simon. Rest in peace to Noel Hawkins. 1 year ago today, we lost him.
Wow.
So that seems to have gone very quick, actually.
It sure has.
Yeah.
Can I remind people that we've ranked Number of the Beast on this show? We've ranked 24 Nights on this show, and there was another album that you mentioned that we've ranked too. As we've done Eliminator, ZZ Top Eliminator. So yes, we've ranked all those albums. That's
going to prompt me to also say that as soon as the remaster of Coverdale Page comes out, we're going to be doing probably 2 or 3 episodes here on that re-release, because there'll be remasters, there'll be extra tracks, there'll be stuff that we can deep dive into. So
we've been planning that for a year, bro. You can tell people that.
We've been waiting. So.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah. Waiting.
I had to let people know, because I want us to be exclusive, the first people that are doing it, or if not, at least I've told everyone we're doing it first. So
we're on the bow wave. Now sound the new wave. Anyway, so we should say good morning to Tim Thomas, Led Zeppelin, Ellen, of course, Ellen Toll. Morning, Ellen. Jimmy Ray Hawkins, some bloke called Simon Williams, John ZD351. Morning, John. Settling into his new place, I hope. Unpacked all the boxes. I think that's everybody that maybe Christopher Live Sour as well. Although Tim's also saying hello to him earlier, so maybe he was in earlier when I missed it. But so good morning to all of those people. Thanks for joining as ever. It's great to see you. I'm sorry we're a bit late this week, but
but we've still got a good show ahead of us.
Blaming the move into British springtime to we sprang forward in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So there we are. The boss is back.
You're just grabbing a Coke, ladies and gentlemen.
Refreshed.
I hope you mean Coke, like as in the drink Coke.
Oh boy.
Nice one.
All right. Okay.
No advertising here.
Hey!
Warren!
Who's this?
Bloody hell. It's Warren.
It is too.
It is too. Warren, how you doing, man?
Warren,
we've been talking about you many times. We've done shout outs to you. I've sent you a few messages. I'm sure everybody here is excited to ask you a couple of things, but I'm going to ask the first question, brother. How are you?
Yeah, we hope you're well.
It's great to see you pop up unannounced. It's good to see you. I've still got the beer dispensers here.
Yeah.
And
oh dear. Oh, he's doing well. Good. The beer dispenser. That's one of the best jokes, that is.
Yes.
Doing well.
Warren, I've also still keeping your EC Strat nice and warm. Don't worry about that.
We haven't changed. At all, Warren. We've just probably picked up a few subscribers since the last time you were on, but we haven't changed. The Rock Professor's doing. There's a couple of videos. Go back. The Rock Professor's graduated to other things, but Brad and I are just leading simple, quiet lives.
The Rock Professor's living the rock and roll lifestyle for all of us here on the channel.
Yes, I'm a legend in my own mind. Yes.
But no, Warren, we're
Well, that's good
ecstatic
to see you, man.
mate.
Really good.
Mate.
Yeah.
It's great, and I'm
Oh,
glad
yeah,
to see
yeah.
you doing well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fantastic.
Happy because, yeah, again, you know, we you know, we've spoken about you in the green room a few times, you know, quite a few times.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. So,
We've
thank you.
even
You
asked,
know,
we've even asked on the channel, like, does anyone know what's going on? Have we heard from him, or anyone can let us know? Andrew's asked that, so glad to see you're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. While we're doing shout outs and patting people on the back, I've got to do a special shout out to John ZD351. Thank you, brother, for sharing our channel on your social media accounts. You know, I know that you do that for a couple of you do that for a couple of other channels as well. You know, you moderate on a few other channels, most notably Shane's in the Blues.
Shane's in the Blues.
And the fact that you hang out with a couple of rat bags like us, you know. The moderator to the stars. John's the moderator to the stars, bro. You know, but no, seriously, you know, thank you for doing what you do for us, sharing our and also the comments too. You know, the last couple of comments, you know, he gets, what did he say, Simon? He gets blamed for everything, and I got him mixed up with Christopher Live Sour.
I mean, really, it's not even the same continent, is it? I mean, it really.
I told the truth. I just replied back and said I'm old.
Yeah.
I wish I could use the Rock Professor's excuses, but I can't.
Yeah, he said taking a swig. Yes. Morning, Robert Ranford. How you doing? Hope you're good. Thanks for joining. Good to see you.
As you guys can tell, we're having a bit of fun tonight.
Yeah,
so
we're very loose. Hey, I'm going to use the Zeppelin term, loose.
Are you loose? Yes, loose but tight.
Oh,
yeah.
And we look at that. We've got 11 people. We've finally got into double digits. Not that we're here for double digits, but it's an achievement. It's an achievement to get more than 10 people watching.
Yeah, it's cool. Thanks everyone for joining. Fantastic. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So, shall we begin?
So the Rock Professors, ladies and gentlemen, is going to tell us the first tour and why he picked the first tour, followed by Brad and followed by myself. And we're just going to have a loose conversation about it. Nothing. No timeouts. No rankings.
Ranking the tours.
Well, you'll win because you're the only one that's been to one. So,
don't keep reminding.
Oh yes, in the game of Led Zeppelin Top Trumps, we'll get to it.
Okay. Kick it off then. Kick it off.
All right. So I'm going. My first one is their tour from 1969. They've done a couple of tours before that, but they've done a bit of supporting as well. They've supported Vanilla Fudge and Grand Funk Railroad, I think, as well. Exciting. But this is one of the first times they've been out headlining, except for apparently they had some support acts on some of it, but they'd also started some of its performances. They were single bill concerts, so they weren't, no support acts, because they're starting to stretch out to more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours. The songs have started to stretch out. It started to go longer, and started to get into what we might call a classic Led Zeppelin, really. I'm playing stuff from their first 2 albums as well, so they're broadening it out a bit, and so that's what I've gone for. And I think that I've listened to a couple of bootlegs and stuff, and and also it ties into on the DVD the 1969 Albert Hall concert, if you want to know what they sound like in that era. I think that's their first period of that massive growth that they did. in America over that time, and some of it. I mean, they're still doing "Train Kept a Rolling," which is the first song they ever did together. When they first got into that room together, see if it would work, and they're not yet doing. They're doing something called Pat's Delight, which is the drum solo, John Bonham drum solo, not the famous Moby Dick, which comes later, and they're doing White Summer Black Mountainside as well, which is they didn't do much later, but so I think it's kind of the top of that first period of what I would call big growth of their phenomenal rise. Still pretty plain stuff, I mean, I sent Anderson pictures that we can look later. The stage sets are pretty plain and pretty, but it was all about the music and all about taking it out to the people and doing lots of gigs. And they went lots of times to America. They did a lot of tours in America in that first period. They'd go for 2 or 3 weeks, do some, then come back to do some in England, then go back to America again. So they were going quite a few times, and in those periods to build up their audience, because I clearly realised that was the way they were going to break, was by going out and gigging. So they did. So yes, that's my it is, Robert. That is my Holly Lewis mug. Thank you, Holly. Fantastic. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Holly. So yes, that's my first choice. Awesome. Brad, what's your first choice?
My first choice is really, it's a bit of a biased one, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I don't know which one. The North American tour they did in '73, which obviously spawned the song remains the same. They obviously were on tour. They'd released Houses of the Holy at that point. I think, personally, and I'm going to put a personal spin on this, they were at one of their peaks around that 72, 73 era. They were playing phenomenally well. As much as I love the acoustic set that they did a bit later on in their set list, I love that it was all very electric. I mean, they had the dynamics in the set list as well. Like, I mean, the Rain song, all those wonderful songs. Like, but the songs like that they brought in from Houses of the Holy, like Over the Hills and Far Away, Misty Mountain Hop. I loved those inclusions of those songs into the set list. I've got a number of bootlegs, and one of the bootlegs that I actually pulled out and listened to earlier today was one from July 1973, July 29, 1973. So that was one of the shows that was recorded for the song Remains the Same. And there's some wonderful versions of the songs on there. I love the jamming they did, the spontaneity sort of thing that they did in this period of if you listen to like this era of 73, if you listen to the bootlegs around this time frame, they were all, there was a little bit of structure in the jams, but the jams are very spontaneous, and each night was different. And I'm sure it would have been like magic being at one of those shows. I could talk for hours. I mean, about this period of Led Zeppelin for me. One of the reasons I love Led Zeppelin, and one of the reasons I bought a Les Paul, is because of the song Remains the Same. And so it has to be, mine's hidden by my name here, but yeah. So what I'm saying is this tour and this period for me is extremely important to me as a musician, but also even more so as a fan, Led Zeppelin fan. Andrew.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. We'll talk more about that tour later, I'm sure. Look, I'm glad the Rock Professor mentioned 68, 69, because they did 2 tours in 69. So I've picked the first tour, the 68, 69 tour, for a lot of reasons, but I'm going to specifically talk about a couple with you guys. in my research today, I didn't realise this because you always have this vision, don't you, Brad and Simon, of Led Zeppelin being this just huge act, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, rock and roll is a business, and we've spoken about this many times on this channel. It's a business. And one of the things that interested me about the first tour is that the Yardbirds were making more money when they toured than what Led Zeppelin were getting when they did that first tour. You know, they paid for, just the top of my head, about, I think, $350 US at the time for a gig, and the Yardbirds were getting $2,500 US dollars. You know, so that was kind of interesting, Brad, because that put into perspective for me the fact that, you know, these guys weren't at this early stage, Simon, too interested in chasing the money. You know, they knew that that was probably going to come anyway because, as you said in your intro, they went back to America a few times. Jimmy Page knew that, didn't he, Brad, that America was the place, you know, and they had to go through and do those tours regularly. But, you know, they started off like a lot of bands, international bands, not particularly in it for the money, raking the money in. So I like that. You know, I like that kind of backstory, Simon, of this band just going out there and performing with the fans and doing this music. Love that. One other fact too that I liked about that early tour, and you know, the Boston Tea Party is a great venue in my mind because there's a lot of albums that have been recorded. Most notably, Fleetwood Mac have got a famous album recorded at the Boston Tea Party. It's one of the greatest recordings ever. And one day on the channel, I promise you that we're going to rank that album. We're going to rank it. It's going to be done. But Brad, when I hear the Boston Tea Party, I get excited. You know, I think, you know, because you know this great venue that had happened. And so again, I've just done some digging around, and you know, Led Zeppelin accredited this gig on their final leg. They did a 4.5-hour gig at the Boston Tea Party, you know, which was phenomenal. Playing to, you know, probably, I think, Simon, about 2,000 people, or just less than two. You know, it wasn't a big venue, but it was a point that they realised that they got it together as a band, Simon, that they could do it. You know, you go and play 4.5 hours. Brad, what's the longest you've ever played?
3 hours.
Okay, well you've got close.
But
3 hours, that's pretty.
But I have done a gig at the SB Gershon Room where I played in 3 bands on the one night. So one set was 2.5 hours, one set was an hour, one set was 40 minutes. So does that count as maybe exceeding them or not?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it is. And well done, yeah.
Needless to say, I slept 3 days afterwards, but you know.
Yeah, as you do, you know, doing rock professor things. No doubt as a consequence of it. But that's another story.
Oh, I shouldn't say that.
That's another story. But when you think about it, though, you know, when you've been in bands yourself and you've gigged, you know, and back in the day, I know the rock professors got a regular gig. You know, 4.5 hours is a long time. You know, so again, Simon, I like this backstory where this band's in it for the music. You know, they're there for the fans, and I love that. So that 68, 69 tour, and obviously they were in support of that great album. Incidentally, we've ranked on the channel.
Yeah. Just to put some perspective on it, in the average wage in 1969 in the UK was £22 a week.
Wow.
So still coining it against 22 quid a week, that's for sure.
Wow.
Not bad. Rock Professor, your second.
So my second choice is a bit akin to Brad's, but I've chosen the 1972 tour, which clearly is what this comes from. So over the hills and far away. Come on.
I can't wait for us to rank this one too. Oh,
That's several weeks.
a month, Brad. A month.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
There's a 10 and 8. Well, only 18 tracks. Some of them are very long though. But
Great album.
I think this is the next stage of Led Zeppelin where they're now doing 18 songs, as a set list. It's 3 hours plus.
Wow.
Some of the songs are 25 minutes long. I mean, Days Are Confused on here is 25 minutes long. It's Whole Lot of Love is 23 minutes long. Bring It On Home is nearly 10 minutes. I'm sure everyone's heard this, but the power and the yes, John. Bruce Springsteen. When I went to saw him in 1981, he played 8 o'clock to 12:15 with a 15-minute break. That's mad. This I think this one shows that one of the heights of their powers. I mean, it's just its energy and its breadth and its sheer expanse of music that it covers, styles. They've started doing the acoustic bit in the middle and things, which is going to California. That's the way, Bronny or Stomp, those things. But I think that for me this is the next stage on, where they've got 4 albums out. They've extended the set massively. They're understanding how to play 25-minute songs. So, and anyone who's ever heard that record is extraordinary, kind of its type. It's an amazing record of them from June '72 in Los Angeles. But this is the first tour where they're playing albums from playing songs from Houses of the Holy, and I'll say the first time they started doing an acoustic session. I think, yeah. But yes, sometimes up to 4.5 hours the concerts were. So amazing kind of. And I think this is where we start to get the real breadth of their material as well. Across the different genres, and combining it all, folk and rock and everything. So extraordinary period for me. I think where they're starting to become huge, and starting to really sell out and play big places and things. So that's my second tour, 1972, from How the West Was Won came from.
Awesome,
Brad.
I think you've stole my notes, Simon, because that was my second one as well. 72 Northern American tour, and the LA Forum gig being one of their highlights. And that How the West Was Won was just an amazing. I remember when that came out, I'd heard bootlegs of it, but when the clarity and the clearness of what Kevin Shirley did to that is just phenomenal, and it blew me away. And the reason I love that era of them as well, I think that's there's such an energy with the band. They're obviously once they've got to that point in their careers, they've got their House of the Holy was coming out. They're they'd really found their feet as performers, and they were so in tune with each other at this point playing live that I think that you can hear the magic, or like from say the 73 tour happening already. You can hear development of songs that came later as well, in the middle of songs like Dazed and Confused, that are breaking into like Achilles' Last Stand start and things like that. Like there was development then for 73 for stuff that was coming out later. You could hear it, and they were obviously a very tight unit by this point, because that How the West Was Won is one of my favorite live CDs ever. It's unbelievable, the power of it. John Bonham is just playing like better than ever. Jimmy Page is on fire. John Paul Jones, Robert Plant, they're just so in tune with each other at that point in their career. And the bootlegs from that 72 tour are some of my favorites. I just love that era. I love all eras of Zeppelin, and it's hard, Andrew and so on, to pick 3 tours But this era, 72, 73, 75, 77, 70, like I love it all, but I love the 69 and 70 as well. So, you know, what I'm giving today might change tomorrow as well. I just want to give that disclosure there that that don't hold me to this in a year's time, because it might change.
You're allowed to.
Yep. Maybe we can do this again in a year's time and readdress it, you know.
Well, that's, you know,
Andrew.
I think that's right. I think, you know, it's like favorite albums or favorite anything, isn't it? Yeah, it changes through time and stuff. So, yeah, Mr. Walton, what's your second choice?
Well, you guys are right, and I'm just going to go take us on a little detour here. So, you know how on the channel we've been talking about 1984, Van Halen's 1984. So, with all this information that's been coming through and that's presented on our channel now on these last couple of shows that we've been doing on the 5150 show, Simon and Brad. I'm going to get us all together on the 5150 show. I know that we've ranked 1984 before, but we're going to go back and rank 1984 now with everything that we know.
With the new info.
Cool. Yeah, because you know how we talk about that often. You know how new information comes through and it has an effect on how you. So yeah, that's the plan.
I'm up for it.
Yeah, that's the plan. Look, I'm glad we love 72. I'm glad we love 72, and I can't wait for us at some stage to fit that month in for when we decide to do that album, because I too agree with you guys. It's a phenomenal album. I remember when it came out too, Brad, and I just remember being blown away, I won't swear, for a long time by listening to it. And you know, it's my favorite. But I didn't pick the 72 tour as my second one. I picked the 73 tour. And Brad mentioned it on his first one. You know, it was the one that gave us The Song Remains the Same, and we've ranked that on the channel too, ladies and gentlemen, the DVD film as well. So we've incorporated that. And just to repeat what we said earlier in that show, that was the recording that got me into Led Zeppelin, Brad. You know, that was the cassette tape of hearing that. And then my cousin telling me that Led Zeppelin was a dude, was a guy, you know, not a group of guys, you know, and smoking Rothman's cigarettes and getting sick, you know, through nicotine, you know, because I'm... And just listening to this cassette. So for me, that 73 tour. And then how many years later did we get that out on film? Was it 3 or 4 years later or something when they released it? So, you know, it was kept in the cooker for a long time. But again, we spoke about this when we ranked the album. Having the VHS back in the olden days when you had VHSs and watching the VHS of it, Brad, over and over again with your friends, you know, David McCall and Alistair McClymont just sitting there, and, you know, when I should have been home mowing the lawn. And then I got got my ass kicked by the old man because I didn't mow the lawn. What were you doing? I was watching videos. What kind of videos are you watching? Oh, music ones.
Just clearly disappointed in you from watching music videos.
But yeah, that 73 tour, you know, for me, Brad and Simon will always have a special, you know, that whole ethos around it. As Brad said, you know, it could change next week. That 72 tour was pretty phenomenal too, because you had the Stones doing the same thing at the same time in America. So, you know, 72 in America, Simon and Brad, what a year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Apparently they. I read that Peter Grant was really disappointed. The fact they sold out the shows at the same time, but in terms of news, they were vastly overshadowed by the Rolling Stones. So after that, he decided to hire PR consultants to help promote subsequent tours.
Well, that's the genius in Peter Grant, because he realised that he couldn't do that as a manager in-house. He had to go and get PR people to and took and that's one of the catalysts of why Led Zeppelin went stellar, Brad. I'm sure it was because they were marketed, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. And the other thing they did around this time was that he took the unprecedented step of asking concert promoters for 90% of the gate receipts.
Give me the money.
Give me all the money. Give me all of it.
Oh, give me the money.
We want money. We want the money. Want it now.
Which is amazing, clearly because before the bands wouldn't have got anywhere near most of the money. But he was one of the instigators of that, Peter Grant. Yes, you say, Andrew, the genius of his management, learning that and getting the majority of the money for the band and not for the promoter. Which is,
no apologies,
cool.
John. You do some work and just listen to us. It's fine. You don't have to reply. We're just glad you're hanging out with us, brother.
Yeah. John, people have lives. They have to get on with stuff, don't they? That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's
correct. Yeah. Simon, what's your third one?
Cool. So, well, you'll be amazed, stunned, and shocked to know that the third one I've chosen is from 1975, because I didn't go to the American one, but that's when I saw them at Earl's Court in 1975. So clearly, I'm going to choose the American tour that is very close to just before the 1975 tour. It has the enough of your sarcasm. It's so yes, because as I say, it's it's the concert tour that I saw. It's the set list pretty much that I saw. It's rock and roll, Sick Again, Over the Hills of Far Away, When the Levee Breaks, In My Time of Dying, Since I've Been Loving You. Song Remains the Same, Kashmir. So it had physical graffiti stuff on it as well, and clearly Hands of the Holy stuff. And I'm amazed by the depth and the breadth of what they did. Trampled Underfoot, with that kind of Stevie Wonder vibe. The acoustic bit in the middle that they did. It was just amazing, and and I'm pleased. Jimmy Page doing Dazed and Confused with the lasers, and and I think they'd started to use have backdrops and have light shows and all that stuff, and you could tell that increasing the professionalism of the show. Whereas if you go back to plenty here, John. Don't worry about that. Yeah, there's plenty here, I can tell you. Great light show, and as I say, Jimmy Page standing there with his bow, with the lasers going over his head, is an image burnt into my mind, mind by the lasers. But a fantastic, and as I say, a kind of there we are. See, reading out the wrong one. Typical. That they had this, they reinstituted the acoustic thing, going to California. That's the way Bronny Orr stomped, and sat down on stools and kind of played. I didn't remember bands doing that really of that period. Mainly it was a kind of an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 set if you were lucky. Without that breadth of the music that they did was really extraordinary. So yes, it won't surprise you to learn that this is what I chose as my as my third choice, because I was there. Yes, I know everyone's bored of me saying it, but I think it's true that and I think also that
that's the only reason why you're here.
Thank you. It's harsh, isn't it? The only reason. Only reason.
No.
Oh my goodness.
That's harsh.
I'm joking.
The boss man is it's harsh.
It's because of the cocaine and the hookers too.
I'll send them round.
Um,
The rock and roll.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Come on, guys. I'm joking.
I
Everyone,
know.
come on.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Greg Zeppelin's right. Their version of "Come On Everybody" and "Something Else" is fantastic, and he's made the big comment here. Of course, they were Eddie Cochran nuts. Of course.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Page, definitely, absolutely, yeah. Yes, fantastic.
And a man having Gretsch in his name would know that.
Wouldn't Yes, he would. The Gretsch of Eddie Cochran.
There's a Gretsch over there. Yeah. Can't go wrong with the 6120.
You can't. So Brad, what's your third choice?
All right. Well, mine was difficult to pick a third one because I thought I would go with something a little bit different. One of my favorite bootlegs is from the North American tour they did in 1977, and the reason I like that tour is because of the inclusion of Achilles' Last Stand in the set list, and they were playing. Obviously the band were experiencing different things, going through some problems and whatnot, but the overall performance. There used to be a bootleg that I had. I've probably still got it on CD. I think I've got it somewhere buried in a box. It used to be called something like, it was recorded at Los Angeles Forum, June 21, 1977. And I think that was called "Listen to This, Eddie." I think it was called that. And it just, I just love that performance. I remember listening to it, and I actually listened to it a bit today because I've got it on my computer as well. But it's an amazing performance. So I just love that sound, and I love the Earl's Court gig, and I love like Nebworth coming in 79 and 8. I love that era as well for different reasons. The inclusion of the 77 tour, the obviously Presence was out, but the little Black Country Woman needs Bonnet, like the Belle of Evermore, just in those inclusions and the way they performed, like songs like The Rover, Sick Again, Sick Again with the Rover intro and all those sort of things. And there was quite a difference in contrast as well when they performed songs like Since I've Been Loving You from 77 to 73, if that makes sense. There's like a big difference. And I like that. I like listening to that for a reason. But there was a number of other things which maybe at the conclusion of this we can talk about, ones that didn't quite make the cut but should have possibly, Andrew. I don't know if we've got time for that, but otherwise. But that's my third one, guys, and I'll be interested to see what you two say about that.
Well, I just to confirm, the bootleg is called "Listen to This, Eddie."
Okay.
Which is apparently an audience recording from LA on the 21st of June.
Well, go and have a listen to it, folks, because there's a lot of magic in that one.
Yeah. A lot of people have referenced that too, recently too, in conversation, including our very, very dear friend of the channel, Alan Garber. So, well worth it. Well worth it. Glad you mentioned it. Yeah. Hey, Jonas, thanks for hanging out with us.
I'll just, Jonas, I went on the 25th of May, 1975.
There you go.
There you go.
When he was 12 years old.
Sadly not.
I want to make it quite clear, ladies and gentlemen, that the Rock Professor's here for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons why he's here is because he gives some credibility because he's seen Led Zeppelin 2 Hours So show. It's not the only reason.
As I said earlier, in the game of top trumps of Led Zeppelin, I win.
No one can compete. No one can compete.
I'm sure there are people on here who can compete more with that, who've seen them multiple times in multiple places. I'm certain of that. But
I like the fact that we've got a special channel show set up for Led Zeppelin and indeed, well, it's called the Zoso Show. Anything to do with any of the Led Zepp guys, as Brad said at the top of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to incorporate Coverdale and Page on that show, on this show. So it's going to work. It's going to be great. You know, there was a reference earlier in the comments by one of you guys. I can't remember who it is. I'm sure John ZD351 would correct me if I got it wrong, so I won't even say it. There's a new video on YouTube where a guy is playing the instruments from the Metropolitan Museum guitars.
Oh, he goes around them, doesn't he? Yeah, I've seen
that. Which is not bad. So, you know, Brad, always going to be topical, aren't they? If you're a rock and roller, if you like rock music and guitar music, there's always going to be space for Led Zeppelin, isn't there?
100%.
Guys, I'm pulling a Swiftie on you guys for my third one.
Wait a minute.
I'm pulling a big Swiftie on you guys.
Go on.
Okay, all right. I've picked the Live Aid gig. I've picked the Live Aid gig as my third one, and I'll tell you why. You know, being a young guy and watching that here on New Zealand TV, I don't know what and maybe this is a conversation that, you know, we can have a little bit about that Live Aid gig from your guys' perspective. It was screened live on television here, Brad, live as it happened. It was an event, bro. It was an event for the whole duration. It was captivating. There were, you know, I was even captivated by U2, watching U2, Madonna. You know, everybody. It was just fantastic. But one of the high points, obviously, was, you know, this Led Zeppelin, you know, what do you call it? Not a reunion, but the Led Zeppelin, the three surviving guys from Led Zeppelin getting together on stage to sing 3 or 4 songs. And, you know, that rock and roll, when they kicked into rock and roll on a stage with cables and leads all around, and you've got all the roadies on the side there, and you've got Jimmy Page and Robert Plant just locking it in, Simon. It's captivating. It was captivating live TV, and it was just an image that I can't get out of my head when I think of Led Zeppelin in America, you know, at the JFK Stadium. So it's a little bit of a cheat. I'm sorry. But,
interesting one.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad. Anyway,
it's a very interesting one, Andrew. Very interesting.
So Brad, did you watch it live? Do you remember the Live Aid gig? Do you remember?
I did watch bits of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. But I was young.
He was only 6.
I was very young too when it was on. I was very young, but the point of the matter is I did watch bits of it. I didn't watch Zeppelin live when it came on, like on Live Aid. I didn't watch that, but I've seen it, and it's an interesting problem. But I guess I understand why you picked that, because the moment, the excitement, the whole thing, you know, it's something that was quite, you know, something that they don't look back on as being one of their highlights, but
no, they don't. But for us, for me and my friends, Simon, watching it was, you know, because we were confirmed Led Zeppelin nuts. So this was something special because we were watching it as it was happening.
Interesting, yeah.
With Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones and Robert Plant interacting together live on a stage. We never thought we'd see that, you know, because all the interviews up until then said that they would never do anything again.
I can relate to that in a sense, in not that they aired or publicly showed any performance of it, but the celebration they which we've done the breakdown
Yes.
and the track rankings and that. When that was on, I was on Google and people were throwing up the set list as it was live, and I was just picturing in my head what it would be like. So I can kind of relate to what that would be. I was at work sneakily on the computer, Googling in set list update, and someone kept playing the next song. So I can relate to that, Andrew. I can. So
yeah, interesting, that your perspective on it's different to mine. I don't remember. My view of it is it wasn't a great success and things, but it's.
But you saw them. You saw Led Zeppelin live.
But I saw them. Yes, I know, and I think that's the trouble, isn't it?
The closest I got to that was seeing Page and Plant in '95. I think it was twice.
Yeah.
But that was the closest I got to seeing any Zeppelin.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's certainly a concert that you had to be in the stadium to see and watch. But I'm glad we've got that documentary on YouTube, and I watched it earlier today, just to reminisce and just get the buzz, as they say, from it. So that's my third. My third pick, because look, Simon and Brad, is it a rough performance? Of course it is. Of course. Of course. But, they went there in the spirit of what the event was about, supporting, starving, dying people in Africa. From that perspective, how many, good on them for that.
Yeah. Turning up and doing something. Yeah. Oh no, but I think it's really interesting that from your perspective, having never seen them before and probably never seen any concert footage at all, or not really anything, to be able to see them turn up and play live would have been something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you got to remember, we had up until then just had the VHS of Song Remains the Same.
Remains the Same.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I had an honourable mention, and it could have been flipped one way or the other between 77 and there's one of my favourite. Well, one of the very first bootlegs I bought of Led Zeppelin was live on Blueberry Hill, which was classic. From that 70s North American tour. So that one nearly made the cut for me. And it is an amazing performance. They were on fire, that period of the 69, 70. That is a great set list too. Bringing it on home and putting all those stuff in there, and the whole I Love melody always got me, and Communication Breakdown, just the way they did all that stuff. But I hope I didn't overstep the mark, Andrew, by bringing that one up.
No. That's fantastic. I think it's the bootlegs are amazing package in themselves, aren't they? Because you actually get this view of sometimes, and we've discussed this a lot, haven't we, Simon, on the channel, where how much of Get Your Yo-Yos Out was re-edited, re-recorded in the studio. Van Halen, Right Here, Right Now, that was all redone in the studio, and then when you hear these official live albums and then go and hear these bootlegs, Brad, and it's like, holy shit, that guy can actually hit those high notes. There's no
studio trickery.
No.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's famous, isn't it? The Blueberry Hill thing is from the LA Forum in 1970, September the 4th, 1970.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
What do you think about? I remember reading this where Page said that they liked that part of America, and I think Plant said something too about it, that the atmosphere, the temperature and all that just really worked for his vocals, because it was, just the whole environment. It just worked as a vocalist. I remember when I read that, I thought, oh, okay, it's just more to it than just the hippies and the hippie chicks and the cold beer Brad. It's these guys.
Yeah. No,
amazing.
They did some amazing tours, and I've got a lot of bootleg material, audio, some video, but a lot of the audio I've got. I mean, I guess listening to it all, there was one they did in '79, Destroyer, I think it was called. Oh, this is all off the top of my head, not prepared at all. That was another good one for me as well. But I loved hearing Sick Again and all those sort of songs in the later period. And I love the Nebworth era too, when they did those Nebworth gigs towards the end of their career. There's some great stuff there. But again, it's like I think '73 will always be one of my favorite eras of
Me too.
their live performance in that point. But
They
again,
were kings. They were kings of the world then.
You could hear them developing in '69, '70. Like they got together. They were a new band. They were on fire. They had a lot of energy. By '73, though, they'd really cemented themselves, their style. They knew what they were doing, and they knew each other backwards by that point. A lot of touring by then. Yep. And I think that they could. Personally, I think they run rings around any other band in that period live.
So I'm a Stones nut, as you guys know. So '72 tour of the Stones, they were on top of the world, as we just said earlier. The '72 Led Zeppelin tour was a little bit bubbling under. '73, the Stones aren't there. Led Zeppelin takes over the world. The Stones just don't quite make it in the '70s, do they? The '75 tour is not as great as, it's a little bit patchy, and the '78 tour is a little bit patchy. It's not until the '90s, late '90s, where they start getting back on board. But '73, mate, Led Zeppelin had nobody touching them.
100%.
No, that's right. Just looking at the set list for the Blueberry Hill thing, what's amazing is they do Whole Lot of Love, right? And within Whole Lot of Love, they do Boogie Chillin', they do That's All Right, and Moving On, Red House, the Jimi Hendrix song, some other guy, Think It Over, Honeybee, and the Lemon song.
Yep.
All kind of just parts of it jammed into, and they also do I Saw Her Standing There as well, For What It's Worth. Amazing amount of that kind of West Coast influence, but amazing the breadth of influences and stuff that they could just bring into and incorporate into those songs.
Yeah,
unlike any other band, I think no other band does that. But
awesome.
I agree. Yeah, cracking it out.
Is that us? Is that us?
I don't. Yeah. Well, pretty much. I have mentioned her. My only other, it's not at all the honourable mention, but I was quite close to choosing Celebration Day, the 2007 reunion, which I do think is a fantastic concert as a one-off thing. And clearly not a US tour, so I discounted it on the fact that it's a one-off concert in London is not a US tour by definition. But
sorry for being ethnocentric there to our North American brothers and sisters. But we've got to put credit where credit's due. All rock and roll, it's always about the American tours, isn't it?
No. 1975 Earl's Court, not in America.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just saying.
All right.
Just saying.
Okay. All right.
Troublemaker at the back.
Hey, Hugh, good to see you.
Yeah, morning, Hugh.
Hey, we've had a great show. We're going to wind it up, are we?
Because
we've been going.
Yeah.
And we were ranting and raving and
stuff.
And for a while in the green.
The green.
So what are we doing next week? We've got Brody on. So Brody's going to be on. We're going to be doing 38 special.
Yeah. Yes. Hopefully. clear our diaries and do that. That'd be good. Yeah.
Fingers
and
crossed.
on the next Friday, kids, next Friday day for me, I'm going to That Pedal Show's studio near me for a That Pedal Show experience day.
There you go. Well,
I'm
maybe
going to play lots of crazy amps and lots of stuff. So I look forward to that.
Awesome.
If you're going to take any video and you want to share it on the channel, Simon, you're more than welcome to if you want to do that.
I will check with them that it's all right, but I might do a little
Yes.
video or two just to kind of, shovel it across to you,
Yeah.
maybe it's a video of outside or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'll check with them first. I don't want to, step on anybody's toes.
Cool.
But yeah, that's what I'm doing on Friday. So I shall report back at some point as how it went. It'll be great fun. Yeah.
Oh, how exciting!
Yeah. Well, it's an experience, isn't it? So you might as well have one.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, man.
Let us know, ladies and gentlemen, if you think we got... No, we didn't rank anything. Well, let us know what your thoughts are on the North American tours. Indeed, you can cheat like the Rock Professor if you want, and you can include European tours if you want.
Oh dear. Always bending the rules. The boss man sets the rules, and our job is just to bend them a little. I'll just do that because I can.
Hey, Ed.
Oh dear. Morning, Ed.
And I think that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yes. No, that's good. Well done. Well done for a bit of off the top of our head show. I hope that's all right. It's fine. Yes.
Okay, if you've watched at the hour and 11-minute mark and you haven't subscribed to our channel, this is where I ask you to please subscribe to our channel, and more than that, I ask you please to go to our channel's page and subscribe to our friends. I watch some of our friends' subscribers over their subscriptions, and I'm not growling anybody, but go and hit their subscriber buttons, please, if you can. It would be awesome if you can do that, because we want to collaborate and help as many of those people as possible, don't we, Brad and Simon? That's all we ask on this channel.
I could say something very cheeky, but I'm not going to.
Oh, dear.
Go and subscribe to mine as well, okay? But that's different to what I was thinking.
Yes, go and subscribe to Brad's too. That's a good idea. Yes.
I haven't had a subscriber for a long time, so yeah.
Come on, guys. Please, if you are watching on a replay, take that extra minute to go and do it. I know it's a bit of an effort to go and find and then go up there, and then on the channel, on the menu there, it's got community. So you just hit the community next to see all our posts, and next to that's the channels. So you hit the channels and you just go subscribe to everybody.
That easy.
I've got 75 subscribers.
Woohoo!
Let's get the Rock Professor. Let's get him 100.
Yeah, come on, guys. Let's get him up there. Let's get him up there. Come on.
Yes. John's ND3FM is going to unsubscribe so that you can subscribe again.
Sorry, Ed. Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, Ed.
Ed, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
You did, Ed. I'm sorry. Yeah. Bit of an ad hoc show this week, but so we were going to do an album, but this is next week.
Okay.
All right. So I say goodbye to everyone in the chat. Let me say goodbye to everyone in the chat. So thanks for joining. Tim Thomas, Led Zeppelin, Ellen Toll, of course, Jimmy Ray Hawkins. Thanks, Jimmy Ray. Fast Eddie VH. Sorry, Eddie, I missed you from before. So thanks for dropping by. Tim Thomas, John ZD351. Get on with those. Warren, really great to see you, Warren. That's fantastic after a long time. Robert Ranford as well. Scooting on down. Jonas Halberg. Thanks, Jonas, for dropping by. And Hugh and Holly, Lewis, Hugh Caldwell, thanks Hugh for dropping by, and Ed. Sorry, Ed, we're a bit ad hoc this week, but we'll be back to normal next week. So hopefully that got everybody. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next week for a 38 special. Hit it, boss.
Oh, hold on before we go. Just while we're still live, I'm just going to send you guys a message. Just hold on. I don't want to do this live.
Oh, he's going to send a message in the chat. Yeah, sing. Let's sing. see. Oh, there we are. Look, hold on. I'm going to go and look now. Yeah. Yeah, I think we should. Actually. I think we're fine. I've been keeping in contact with him. So, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, I can't remember. A couple of weeks ago, about a week ago, I got a message from a very good friend of ours, Curtis Mesner, ladies and gentlemen, who's been on the channel a lot with Bob and Jeff. This Bob, Robert, the author of this book that our channel has had a close connection with. So, and the Rock Professor will tell you. So we want to do a special shout out to Bob because he had a stroke and he's okay. He's recovering. And forgive me for not mentioning that at the start of the show. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah. So Bob, get well soon, mate, and keep in contact. Yeah.
Speedy recovery, Bob. And I can relate to that, Bob. If I can give you any advice, it's just to stay positive. That's all you can do, and just every day, just try not to get too down about it. Don't be too beat yourself up about it, and just take every day as it comes. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And
get well soon, Bob.
Very sorry to hear, but I'm glad you're still with us. So
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Get well. All right. We're out of here.
Take care, all. See you next week.
Well, it's been an honour, Paul, to have you join us and just explain to us, albeit briefly, some of your experiences and thoughts with Peter Green and Fleetwood Mac and Danny Kerwin, because as you have already probably understood, it's a big part of what we do here on the channel, Paul, and to have you been recognised as one of the main catalysts in getting this book that we're so eagerly waiting to get our hands on. Thank you too, Paul, because we all know that it takes different different links, doesn't it, Simon, to get people together to do something. We all know that, and it's always good to acknowledge those people that are going to do that for us, because I'm sure this book is going to be a document. It's going to be a legacy, that fans in the future and indeed music critics and journalists are going to always go back to. So well done, guys.
And Paul has actually seen the book. He's one of the few.
Hey, I want to say something about Brad and Simon and Andrew. You guys are doing something very important, I think, because this part of musical history is, kind of long ignored, and I think it's something that needs to be told. These stories need to be told, and these people need to be appreciated. And I want to thank you guys for doing just that.
Thank you, Paul.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to us.
Paul. That's really kind. Yeah, we kind of hope that yes, people can come back and watch these later on and get some kind of oral history